Hello, everybody. It's Robin Da Vinci again, the Money Lady. I am here to talk about a topic that is pretty hot right now, and it is tips for your servers. I'm not talking about if you tip someone who delivers flowers, or if you tip someone who delivers a package, or if you tip someone, in your random life when you're doing things. I'm talking about actual restaurant tips. And apparently what people do is they would put the tip on their credit card. They would get their bill, add it up, look at it. Some people would take the amount of the food without sales tax in it, tip that at 15 or 20%, or they just take the whole bill and put 15 to 18 to 20% on it. And the server would then cash out, take their tip out of that, and then put the rest to the owner and into the credit card mix. Well, now, and that way, that tip was untaxed because basically you would take it. And then what was supposed to happen, and I'm saying in very vague, wide terms, what was supposed to happen when a server got their W-2, the owner would allocate about 8% to their W-2 when they would pay tax on that smaller amount of tips. And so servers were really getting their tips by cashing out first, taking their tip out, and then giving it to the owner, and then they'd separate their tips out to the busser or anybody else, the hostess, whatever they wanted to do. So in recap, you would get a bill, let's say for $120. You would tip 20%, which would be $24. You'd put in the total amount, and then the server would go ring it up and take their $24 out of the ring up, have their tip of $24, and then the owner would get the rest of the money. And then that server would separate it out to be able to tip a busser or somebody like that. That was kind of the old-fashioned way. Well, now, and I don't know when the law changed, but a lot of different things happened in 2017 during the Trump administration. And I have a feeling there might have been a crackdown on tips because servers were getting untaxed tips. So now they're not allowed to cash out their tips before putting it through. And now owners are putting the whole amount through, taxing it, and then giving the server the tip after tax. Now, technically, that's the legal way to do it. And I'm so sorry because I know a lot of people like to be paid under the table and not pay tax and not give the government any of their money, but that's not how it works. So from now on, and I'm not advocating this, but you can leave cash tips. Now, I don't know what happens when you leave a cash tip. I used to do that, not for the reason that I thought anybody was not going to pay their fair share of tax on it, but I always thought it just made more sense. It was more of a friendly thing to do. So if I had a dinner for $98, I would put 0 tip, put $98, sign it, give it back, and have on the receipt $20 cash tip to server so that they didn't think I didn't leave a tip. So I would get the bill, review it, take the merchant copy, put in a cash tip, and right on there that I had done that, but put 0 in the tip spot so they only put through the amount of my food. Because I felt like a tip really wasn't in my food budget, it was more in my almost donation budget because I'm giving this amount to someone. So now there's a big hue and cry to start leaving servers cash tips. I've always done that. I did not know until recently that owners are taking all of that money and then sending it back to the server after it's been done and it goes on their paycheck. So I think one of the problems is servers were taking home their tips every single night. And now the servers are only getting their tips when their paycheck arrives. And those tips are being taxed. So if you can imagine, and I'm just introducing you to the controversy, I'm not really telling you, what you should do, but I'm saying the controversy is now that instead of going home with your tips every night in your pocket because you cashed them out in the process of going through the merchant and putting through the credit card, now your tips are being withheld from you until your paycheck. So let's say you get paid every other week. So your tips are being accumulated, taxed, and then given to you in your paycheck. That's the controversy, everyone. That is the controversy. So what I've read is, and it's going wild on Facebook, is I've read leave your server a cash tip. tip? Well, I know I'm old-fashioned and carry around a little tiny bit of cash with me just for these situations, and I always prepare if I'm going out to a bigger meal. But I can't give you advice on that, but that's what the controversy is. So if people are wondering, why am I getting pressure to leave a cash tip? That's why. Servers are used to going home with their tips every time they work, and now it's being delayed until they get their paycheck. So I hope that clears it up and gives you an insight into what's going on with that controversy. I'm pretty sure that I didn't know any of that until just recently. And when I put my tip in, and I usually do 25% because I'm a softie for servers who are waiting on me. It seems like, you know, when I get a pedicure once every 2 months, I give someone a pretty decent tip for, you know, cleaning my feet. I mean, that's pretty amazing. So I also am very gracious and grateful to the servers for their wonderful service. So I usually give a cash tip, but I didn't understand the new controversy over what was happening. And it's basically that these servers were probably taking home their cash tips, and that's what was funding them buying new shoes or going to the store or something, or going out with their friends. And now that's being delayed and going into a paycheck, and it's coming out as a net amount, not a whole amount. So it's up to you and your conscience to decide how you want to do tips, but that's what the controversy is. They're not getting to take them home every night. They're waiting for them when they get their paycheck, and it's now being taxed in full and then given to them. So, my friends, that's the tip controversy, and I think you needed to know. See you soon. Like and subscribe.